Welcome to Bubbles and Breakdowns, a space designed for you to show up as your beautifully imperfect self, where we dive into the good, the bad, and the bubbly. I'm Katrina.
And I'm Ashley. And as we're about to close out the year, we are turning the page and looking ahead to 2026.
Wow.
What?
Yikes.
How did we get here? I don't even know. Well, we had time this week, Katrina and I, to create vision boards. And we focused on drawing in what we want for ourselves in the next year. So in this episode, we're going to move beyond the trendy reputation of vision boards to really explore the psychology and neurological reasons why a visual representation of goals can be an incredibly powerful tool for manifestation and achievement. It provides a practical evidence-based understanding of how visualization impacts the brain's focus and drive. There's some science here.
I love it because it's not just about pretty pictures, right? And I think you and I, as we were putting ours together, were like, why does this really work? But we both agree that it works for some reason, right?
For sure. And I think too, I always mentioned this in the past where it's like, I'm still discovering what I want.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's hard for me to be like, this is what I want to do next year because I'm really just in this mode of discovery.
Yes.
So I think that this exercise, that's what I was going to call it, I found it really valuable.
I love
this
it.
week.
Yeah, I did too. And I think it's really interesting. You kind of have to make the time. And I also found out footnote for anybody who's out there about to do one, magazine prices. Hello, $15 for a magazine?
No.
I'm like, knock it off.
But People was $6.99.
Well, hey, pop culture's cheap and, Magnolia Table, not so cheap. So, but anyway, really, guys, I would just say if you can find the time, first of all, it's fun. Second of all, it does inspire.
Yes.
So, but I think today, Ashley, we're going to talk about, like we said, some of those neurological or psychological reasons why this helps you center around your goals, helps your brain. And I think that's the first thing we're going to cover is what's the impact to how we think and our brains operate.
Totally. System. And before we even get into that, let's kind of set the bar low. What is a vision board?
Oh yeah.
Right? I think let's kind of talk about that because maybe you're not familiar with the terminology or haven't done one before, but really a vision board is just a collage of images, words or quotes representing your goals and dreams. And like I mentioned, I didn't go into this thinking this is my goal, this is my dream, right? For me, I love this exercise because it's really what pulls you in. What do you gravitate towards that you're kind of like, ooh, I love this picture and I don't know why. And then you can kind of center it around a theme of oh, this is why I like that, and apply it to your goal.
Yeah, I had a pocketbook exploding with confetti. I'm like, let it rain. No, no, but yeah, it was really cool because we did go into it, right, Ashley, of just saying, I'm going to flip through all of these books and magazines, expensive magazines, and see what grabs us. And then at the end of it, just kind of smack them up and put them together. And, I was layering some things and words over images. And at the end of the day, I was like, oh, this all makes sense. And when I look at it, I'm like, this feels like me. Totally. And it's so weird, but it's almost like you're quieting your brain and letting that inner soul speak through this, right?
Totally.
It's what's drawing you? What are you magnetized to?
And I think doing these creative exercises, you really just shut off the noise.
Right.
It applies to what you were saying too. You're just really just kind of doing something a little mindless that really comes to fruition at the end, which I think is awesome.
Very cool. So now let's kind of break it down and be like, okay, so why does this work? What about doing this exercise? It's not just to have this collage hanging in our homes, and it's not just to, sit around and have a glass of wine, even though that's great too. But it's actually a rewiring that's occurring when you start, putting this together. So a vision board, it really helps take things from abstract concepts in our mind into more concrete vision, like an actual visual representation. And guess what? Our minds are wired to seek imagery. They're wired to remember images. Many people may say they have photographic memories, even more photographic when they're tied to an emotion, right? So if you are selecting these things or taking these concepts that you want for yourself and they're making them visually represented.
Totally. And that's in everything, right? Like my background's marketing.
Right.
There's such a pull in like putting together marketing materials that lure people in with that storytelling imagery.
Right.
And it's the same here.
And it's like, I don't know why I like that brand, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that packaging is really beautiful.
Yeah,
It must be good hair products.
Or I cried when I saw that 30-second commercial, right? And you're like, it clicks.
It clicks. And the other thing about your brain, and I found this to be really interesting, is that it can like a lot more rapidly understand images and process images versus text. So, for example, if I'm reading something, then your brain kind of has to churn more, and then it has to interpret, and it has to take time to ingest it. Versus an image automatically translates what you were just saying, a feeling, a story, a presence, a motivating factor behind it. Like maybe you particularly love the color purple and it's very soothing to you. It's the same reason why they say don't paint your kitchen red, because red is a hunger cue for your brain. Your brain interprets these images and it assigns emotion and a level of designation that you must have through whatever your life experiences are. So I think that's really cool too.
I totally agree. And I think it just, it keeps it simple, right? Like looking at these images, you're not looking too far into it, but you're getting what you need to get out of it quickly to not wallow, right? Or get stuck in a place where you're like, oh, this is heavy. It's more light and easy to digest for sure.
And we don't even know as we're doing these vision boards that we're like kind of training our brain. And so that's the next step, is that, okay, now we've given these images and this imagery or even thought-provoking words or comforting words to our brain to interpret. And now the cool thing is, and this is gonna be a little like medical, but it activates.
My scholar.
It activates RAS, which is the reticular activating system within your brain. And this is your filter, right? So it's basically a network of neurons in the brain that stem at the brain stem, and it determines the information it reaches that reaches conscious awareness. So what that means is that you are now activating the filter to start seeking out the things that you have visually put in front of you. And I think this is extremely interesting because it's all about what you hear in manifestation. It's all about what you hear in some of the top motivational speakers is what you focus on grows. So what we begin to bring into our view, and in this case, literal vision, right, Ashley? Images.
Exactly.
Starts to be what we seek out and what we're magnetized to, because what we view and what we focus on grows. So maybe you could share like this one little phenomenon that's kind of fun.
I'd love to. We were going through this and I was like, oh, I love this because it's so true. And I've seen this happen with so many different things in my life. So what we're talking about is the yellow car phenomenon, right? So all of a sudden you see a yellow car, right? You're like, oh, I've never seen that yellow car before. And so you kind of give it some merit, right?
Attention.
You give it attention. And then all of a sudden the next day you see another yellow car. And then there's one in the McDonald's drive-thru. And then there's one at school pickup. And then there's one at Starbucks, right? They start to become everywhere and kind of infiltrate your space, right? You gave it merit, you were seeing it, and now your brain is suddenly attracting these yellow cars, and they're prioritizing them as something relevant to your space.
Right.
So it's the same thing with like these visions, right? Like, and to share a little bit, on mine, I always have some sort of like health area or, something, but I just had, for some reason, I don't know why this is sticking to me, a pair of hot pink running shoes. And no, I'm not going to go buy some hot pink running shoes, but
well,
like
maybe you should.
For some reason, I know, maybe get some hot steps in. But for some reason that is sticking in my mind so much because like just put on your shoes. So now I'm going to like see my running shoes and associate it with like, get your steps in. You know what I mean? And it really is that simple. And kind of motivating.
Yes. And that's that activating of the reticular activating system that's occurred, something we've given focus to, we've given importance. All of a sudden, your brain now sees it as relevant. It's seeking it out, right? So how cool is that? So then when we take that information of just how our brains work and we say, so what, just to draw the conclusion, if we haven't gotten there already, is that a vision board primes our RAS filter for those opportunities. It starts to seek out the resources. It starts to, like you just said, have the cue of the running shoes. I got to get my steps in.
Let's go.
And then it helps you effectively see the steps that you need to take. So if you have a beautiful hiking photo on your vision board, you're going to start to seek out places that maybe you want to go on a trip to, right? Like you're going to continue to seek these out because they're going to continue to play in the background of your subconscious because you have activated that in your brain.
Absolutely.
How cool is that?
And I know we mentioned this on a previous episode, but I did do a vision board last year, but actually I realized it was in May. So it was like, but I think it was May 2024. Anyway, but it covered whatever, a year and a half. And I kind of forgot about it. And then when we were talking about this, I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of these visions came true. Mm-hmm. I had a podcast microphone. Mm-hmm. We started the podcast. I had dreams of like a new home. I moved. Like it was almost goosebump material, giving me the chills because I was like, I put that into the universe as something, as a goal for myself or my family. And a lot of them worked. So it is like that subconscious, right? That filter coming in to say like, okay,
right,
we get what you kind of are aiming towards.
Yeah.
Put it out there and let's see what happens.
Exactly. And I think that, you know, the other level of this is like there's many ways that we can manifest, right? A vision board is one tool. Mm-hmm. Also, just speaking it into the universe. You know, I was listening to another podcast this week and the power of speaking your intentions, and how the woman who was sharing her story was saying the moment that she said what she wanted out loud, it was like all of a sudden the universe was conspiring with her to get just that, something that was internalized for years, or maybe muffled or quieted, or maybe she didn't feel safe enough to say it out loud. But once the words crossed her lips, all of a sudden it is out there, and it's almost like this big magnet. And if you guys don't believe this as you're listening, well, that's fine. I would encourage you then, if you don't believe it, try it anyway.
Totally.
Because what are you going to lose? Like maybe, it's only to your close confidants, your best friend, your partner, whatever. But hey, if you've got a lofty goal, like I want to be a New York Times bestseller. By the way, I want to be a New York Times bestseller.
Heard it here first.
Speak it into the universe. And if it sounds wild, even better. Like just do it.
And I think the cool thing about speaking that out and letting people take it in is, for those of you who are doubting yourselves, people are in your corner.
Right.
Hopefully,
And if not, get them out of your circle.
Exactly. But, I think it's kind of cool to hear someone say, oh, you can do that. And you're like, oh, it almost gives you that extra, I don't know, right, cheering that you didn't even know you needed. And to say, right, like, I'm going to speak this. I'm going to be like, oh, it's out there. Oh, people are saying I could do this.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Watch out, world.
Yeah.
I'm going to fucking do this.
And that's kind of the next area, what you just described. Is it like, it's going to give us the psychology behind it real quick. All of this kind of imagining, speaking it, all of these things provides us motivation and an emotional resonance that is extremely powerful. And why are those things empowering to us as we're seeking to enhance our lives? Well, they're going to fuel motivation. All of us, every single day, are fueled by emotion. We make decisions. We're naturally emotional people. Those who can override negative emotions and still show up and do the workout, still show up and give 150% at work, still show up and be the best human, they have really strong resilience. But other times you may be like, I'm so depressed, I'm so tired, I'm just going to sit here and not overcome it. But what these do is it harnesses good emotion and motivating emotion around things that's going to propel you to be resilient and to seek out those things. So, and you mentioned this before, Ashley, it's like a commitment contract.
Absolutely.
It's like, I put this out there. It's here for me. I need to take accountability, right? Mm-hmm. For the things I want. No one else is going to do that for you.
Absolutely not. You own you.
Right.
Right. And I think it helps too with, I don't know, sometimes when I think of setting my New Year's resolutions, I get overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. It is
and
overwhelming.
It's almost like a decision fatigue, right? Where you're just like, there's so much I could I could better myself in. How do I prioritize this? Or how do I know what I'm ready to take on? And that's what I loved about this exercise is I was discovering things where I'm like, oh, I gravitated towards this. And like, it is that subconscious coming into the consciousness saying, this is what you should focus on. Like, for example, I had the word slow on there and exhale of just like, I've been running so fast, so hard. I want to be present. And it was kind of like, right, that's more of an abstract goal anyway, but like to bring that back to the forefront, just to say, this is one of your priorities and you're craving this. It makes me feel, I don't know, lighter. You know, to discover that in a way that isn't like, okay, I'm going to write.
It's not forced.
Yes, exactly. It like naturally came out from a creative exercise. And that's what I loved about this.
And I think for me, the next day when I looked at it and reflected again, I was like, this couldn't be more spot on.
Totally.
And what I love so much about it is to your point of like, you could do a million things. This really centered you. You know, it centered you on like actually what is important to me.
For sure. And just a side note, we didn't have a ton of magazines like we mentioned.
No.
We had like some Consumer Reports and a People and a whatever. But like, so just saying you don't need a ton of resources. You don't have to have a ton of supplies.
Yes.
You could use your kids' highlights magazine. They have words in there. Like, you know, like anything. It just, I don't know. It felt good. It felt right. It felt timely. And for the first time in a long time, I'm going into 2026 feeling jazzed.
Yeah, we should feel jazzed because, you know, some people can look at it as like every day is a new day to begin. Absolutely. But then that also feels like, I don't know, every day I got to begin again. But I can handle a year.
Yes.
You know, I think a year is enough runway for all of us to not just make small changes, because we can make small changes every day, but we can create habits and an incremental change that kind of snowballs that can, by the end of next year, we can be a completely different person than we are at the beginning.
And I think even just being in my 40th year, I think we have to give ourselves grace too. We're not a machine, right?
No.
We are a human being who's going to process things, who's going to not, you know, stay on track, but we're trying to better ourselves.
Right.
So as long as you're taking those steps to understand what you need, I think it's a win.
I agree.
Right? Understand where you're at and meet yourself where you're at. There's no shame in that.
And I think that's an important part of being realistic, which is why that vision board exercise can just be that kind of soul cracking, like what's really under here? Because we can all be like, do this, do that, do that. But that's your brain thinking through it. This is more emotional. So if we talk about if you do it and you've got this vision board, there's some steps that's recommended, right, for us to have success, right, with using these vision boards.
For sure.
So number one, I took a picture of it. And number two, it's on a desk that I walk by, I don't know, 100 times a day.
Totally. Keep it in your view.
Yes, you need it in a high traffic area. You need it to be something that you're not just going to throw in a closet and let collect dust. So if you don't do that, you won't get the repetition. You won't activate that RAS like we talked about.
Right.
And you could go by the wayside. Now, it could also work like you're Ashley and you did it and you never looked at it again and it just automatically came to fruition.
Because I'm awesome.
Right.
And that's the way my life has always been. And I'm just achieving. No, but for sure. I know. And I think, you know, that's why when we were talking about, again, in that previous episode, your goals that you were sharing for 2025, how you said it was in next to your bathroom mirror. And I was like, that is so smart. There's so many exercises.
I have some moments here and there.
You know, but like there's some, you know, there's some things that I've done and I was like, I want to keep this with me and it's buried or thrown out, you know, so there is something to that. And I think too, you know, keeping it in vision, but when you're going to create this board, you want to make sure you're doing more than just those aspirational quotes, right? Like invoke this emotion.
Yeah.
What stirs you? And I think, again, that's why a picture can be interpreted any ways you want, right? Like I think I had a picture of the words good habits and that Katrina was like, does this work for you? I was like, no. And I was like, oh yeah, I want that on my board. But then it was like on a beach and I was like, Oh,
It's beautiful.
sunlight, like getting, and it caused that emotion in me to say, I want to act.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever you gravitate towards, the cool thing too is you put your own lens on that image.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to work for you? And like, it's funny, you brought up that wallet with the confetti coming out. She's thinking like, let it rain, make it rain. And I was like, I want to party.
Oh, see, different interpretation.
Exactly. So that's why I think it's so cool. And you don't need that one perfect magazine, or you just gravitate towards something, cluster together what makes sense for you, keep it in view, and let it guide you.
I love it. And one thing that as we were kind of looking through what we could be doing with these vision boards to make them more successful for us is like, okay, high traffic, great. But also this power glance idea where every day you look at it and you kind of go, am I trending there? Like, did I relax?
Spot checking.
Yeah. Did I exhale? Did I put my running shoes on today? And it's almost that accountability measure.
Totally.
That keeps us, moving in the right direction of what those aspirations are.
And you're accountable to yourself.
Right.
And I think that's something cool.
Yes.
In that, and not forced. And you're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see you, Ash.
Right. We can do this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that's the mirror too with, posting my goals. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'd look over there and be like, oh gosh, did we do the monthly date night? No, I got to get that, and it was this constant reminder of just what's ahead. And at the end of the day, I think every single person wants to sit in a place, if your goals are really aligned and if they really speak to you and are important to you, whether mental, physical, or otherwise, that wants to sit back and say, I achieved these. So don't let it be a flash in the pan. Don't let it be a quick moment or just one exercise and then be that person that cancels the gym membership in March. Don't let it be that for you. Create more than just a list. Create a plan. Like, create an accountability measure that's going to take it to the next level for you, whatever that looks like. Have the friend that you're going to meet to go on the run with. Have the picture, like the list of things in your face. Schedule the time. You want to write a book? Well, find those 2 hours on a Friday afternoon and start writing.
Absolutely.
And commit it to yourself, but create the mechanisms. Like, I think that's where a lot of people fall apart, Ashley, is that we go, well, I want to do it. And then we don't do anything to help ourselves do it.
Totally. And I think women in general, and I think you throw motherhood on there, or not even if you have kids, you have a high pressure job.
Yeah, stressful.
We come last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't elevate our goals as much as maybe we should.
Yeah.
And then by the time we want to work on something, we're exhausted. I think there's something about seeing that every day. Like you're saying, carve out the time. We have time.
Right.
Like, did I already watch the whole season of Owning Manhattan? And it just came out? Like, I have the time. What am I doing? But no, and I think it is really just about, like, if you want to make something happen, you can make it happen.
Yeah.
So we really encourage you, please, 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 please. We thought this was such a fun exercise. Do it for yourself.
Yes.
See what you gravitate towards. Even if it doesn't help you set a goal for next year, maybe it'll help you feel more confident in where you sit of what you just are liking or what you're not liking, right? Or what you want to change. And I think there's power in that.
100%. So activate those little parts in our brains.
RSA. RSA? Is that what it is?
Yes. RAS.
Oh, dang.
Yeah,
RAS.
you're so close.
Oh, it's like sometimes I do like SVU. No, SUV. Special Victims Unit. No, a car.
So close.
So
close.
It's
part of the same thing.
Same.
But no, for real, I really hope everybody takes an opportunity to at least reflect, whether you do a vision board or not. I think high stamp of approval from here, Bubbles and Breakdowns. Great exercise, something that I will do, I think, annually. Yes. I mean, I found it extremely valuable. There is a reason. There's a psychological, neurological reason this works. So give it a try. What are you going to lose? Yeah. And with that, just remember, after every breakdown,
don't forget the bubbles. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you're liking what you're hearing, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. And we just really, really appreciate the support going into 2026 strong. So keep joining us.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.